Cancer has always been a part of our marriage. Week after we got married, she had a double mastectomy. So right off the back, it was "to death do you part," and I was like, I don't know what to say, God, because I not only mourning, I don't know what to say to my two sons about their mother passing away from cancer, and I love them so much because I see her in them, and to me, I cherish that, and I will always uh, guide them the best way I can, and I'll always tell them stories about their mom and share pictures of their mom and story of how we met, and your mom love you for this. It's a scar that I'll always carry, but I must find beauty within that scar.
Welcome to the Inheritance of Hope podcast. Every day, 562 children lose a parent to terminal illness. They shouldn't have to face that alone. You can pretend to avoid the painful realities of illness, grief, and death, or you can deal with the real stuff in caring community. On the podcast, people in Inheritance of Hope's community share raw, personal stories of pain, trials, and the shadow of death, which are also stories of joy in terminal illness. Find more Inheritance of Hope community at inheritanceofhope.org. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inheritance of Hope podcast. I'm Ellie, your host, and I am joined with a guest whose story is just really impactful and I'm sure will resonate with many people. Go ahead and tell the listeners a bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pierre. Thanks for having me today, Ellie. It's great to be on the show. I'm 39, just turned 39. I have two wonderful kids, Sawyer, who is 7, and Landon, who is 5. We live in Kansas, so I just enjoy being a dad. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how illness has been a part of your family's journey.
Okay, my wife, she was diagnosed in 2012 with breast cancer. I want to say stage 2 at the time. We got married April 2013, and then a week after we got married, she had a double mastectomy. So right off the back, it was "to death do you part." It brought us closer together, to believe it or not. I really believe that. It was just the foundation of our marriage. Through this, we can pretty much go through anything that comes our way in this life. Because life has its ups and downs. And she went in readmission 2018. Sawyer was born in September of 2018, and then we had Landon in August 2020, and then she was like, "Hey, I'm still experiencing pain in my back." To her doctors, and doctors like, "Oh, that was part of the pregnancy." She's like, "No, it's different." So they did a CAT scan and found that she had bone cancer in her sacrum, and then it just spread throughout her body. They called it metastatic breast cancer. And we took a lovely trip in May of 2022. And then the following month in June, she passed away from metastatic breast cancer. Cancer has always been a part of our marriage. And even though she went into remission, she was a fighter. I seen her fight in 2013 with it. Then I seen her fight from 2020 to 2022 with it. So it was has always been a part of our marriage and something we both have to deal with. So, and we started having kids, and I think when she got diagnosed with the second cancer in 2020, he was, I want to say 3 at the time, and he understood a lot. And we had to share it with, "Mommy's not feeling well today." And he's like, "Why?" So we had to explain that mommy had cancer. So explaining that to a 3-year-old, it was hard, but luckily there was a lot of books, a lot of kids' book that helps with parents who are dealing with cancer or any terminal illness that we're able to share with Sawyer and help him understand what the cancer how the cancer is affecting mommy and everything's going to be okay. That's what we had to pretty much explain to him. So it definitely had a major impact on our lives.
If I was understanding this correctly, so did she receive a diagnosis before you were even married?
Yes, and we got engaged in September 2012. And then I think shortly after that, she was like, she noticed a lump in her breast, one of her breasts. She's like, this doesn't feel right. So that's, I think in October, she went to the doctors, and that's when they told her that it's breast cancer.
Hmm.
So,
Wow. And then that's crazy then to get married. And then you said a week later had to
yes,
get
a
the
week after
procedure.
the ceremony, she had a double
My,
mastectomy.
wow. Yeah. I mean, so cancer at any age and stage of life is terrible. There's something just especially difficult about a situation like that where I mean, a lot of families who are in the stage of life where it's like you are just it feels like beginning your own life as an adult, married, you're starting to have kids and then you just have to kind of reshape what your dreams look like because a diagnosis kind of comes in and shakes it all up. Um and then, yeah, I just interviewed someone who was diagnosed when she was 27 weeks pregnant. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
you're kind of going through this, "Oh, I'm gonna be a mom for the first time. Oh my goodness, I have stage 4 cancer." Or, for your story, like, you're dreaming of what your life could look like, and then for this to come in. Walk us through what that was like, getting a diagnosis like that as you're planning a wedding and a life together.
It was pretty tough because you don't know. You don't know just to know what's next. You think you know what's next, but you don't know. Only God knows. Uh, I mean, it's a part of my journey now. Now that I look back on it, it's like, man, like, how did I get through that? It was God. And for me, Karina always said I was a rock. I think she was my rock because of how, like, she's like, okay, I have cancer now, so what's next? And she's like, all right, well, I got to get a double mastectomy. But it brought us closer together, just loving each other and uh, building our prayer life. I mean, I think during that time, we've both spent amounts of time praying together and just growing our relationship with God. That's really what got us through that. I think at first I was worried, but after just praying and praying with her, I didn't have nothing to worry about. So,
Mm. Yeah, and that's really incredible, that approach of just like, "Okay, we're kinda in it together, and we've got God and we've got prayer," and just that reliance, not only on one another, but then also having the Lord to rely on. I feel like if someone is not a believer, that might not make sense because cancer is life altering, like that, a diagnosis like that. So, yeah, how did you manage to like not fully remove those worries and the cares, but like how did you learn to place that on Christ and know that he's in control when everything kind of feels out of your control?
because it's something I couldn't handle. And I knew, I mean, I'm a type of person that, I like to kind of control things per se, but I can control that. This is going to happen if you like it or not. But, you shouldn't have any worries because not only God has explained that I have your back, I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. And he was, and I see it. Like I said, now that I look back on everything, it's like, man, God was there. And it's just, yeah, there was moments that I cried, there was moments that I was sad, but just having Karina there, and then we have my son Sawyer. It was that really what kept me busy was having him uh, during her second cancer with the metastatic breast cancer. Having Sawyer, having Landon, but Sawyer was able to talk at the time, so it was like he was asking me questions. I'm like, oh, I don't know, buddy, but we'll get through it. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's probably a good distraction to keep you busy is having young kids that
yes,
you have to kind of chase around after and show up to, because I talk often on the podcast of it's enough, it's hard enough for adults to comprehend something like this and cope with it. But when it's a child trying to understand, okay, why is mom maybe in bed all day? Or why is she sick again? And you're trying to understand these big concepts and like work through them as a child, it's really difficult. So, how did you, maybe both of you, or you specifically, talk to your children about cancer and help them process what was happening to their mom?
After she passed, that was tough because now it's me talking to two young kids about, your mother just passed away from cancer. And I was like, I don't know what to say, God, because I not only mourning, I don't know what to say to my two sons about their mother passing away from cancer. And believe it or not, as gracefully as my wife was, and how she was a planner, I got this Amazon box from her. I guess when she was at the hospital a couple of weeks before she passed, he was just ordering a bunch of stuff like books and different ways of how to talk to your kids about cancer. And uh, don't make me cry. But she had this one particular book, but it was talking about a kid in a red balloon and how the red balloon kind of got away from the kid's hand and it vanished through the air. It was talking about that kid's mother's death. And
Mm,
but me reading that book to him, I was like, for her to think of like, okay, you're gonna need this. I
yeah.
was like, wow. Even from her grave, she's like, I'm still with you. So read this book to the kids every night. I was like,
Wow.
okay. So I got
Yeah.
that and more books and just kids' books are awesome. Just with the characters and how they explain things. And,
Yeah.
she even wrote a message in the, usually you can send like a message with Amazon. She's like, I'm
Hmm.
always with you boys. Always think of me when you read this book. So, and she also had more books that she handwritten inside of them. She left each kid an envelope with birthday cards. Like I said, she was a planner
Yeah.
with birthday cards when she was up throughout the night because she couldn't sleep. So she was able to do things to prepare for when she was going to be gone. So
Hmm.
I think that really helped me out really a lot. So
Yeah. It almost, I just kind of get the image of, you having to approach these really hard conversations and show up as you're emotional. The kids are probably emotional and figuring it out. Just the image of like, it feels like she had her arm around you and like, here is this gift to you that like I thought of in advance and you're not alone in this moment. Like I'm with you and I've like prepared for this.
yes,
It's just so sweet. Were you weren't expecting that delivery to come at
no,
all?
no. And it was like a week after she passed away. I don't think I ever told anybody that. Like I got books from Amazon. It was from her. So
Yeah. How would you describe her to someone who's never met her before?
my she was funny, believe it or not. She had her master's in speech pathology. And me being a Southern boy, sometimes I kind of mince up my words, and she's like, "No, you got to say it like this." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I will." But goodness, she was just been around her. It was like just beauty, and she just gave so much grace. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and she always uplifted me. And she was, like I said, she was always a planner. She planned her whole wedding, and I was like, I can help with this. And so she gave me like some stuff to do, like put together stuff and make this sign and stuff like that. But she planned pretty much our whole wedding, and but she always cared about me and what my needs were, and and she didn't expect the big things. She really loved the little small things that I did, and I think that's what I really loved about her. And then we started having a family and just seeing her as a mom and just how she was with Sawyer and then Landon and my goodness, like it's a beautiful thing to be a part of because it's just such a amazing gift. To be honest with you, it's a gift from God, and just I mean we were married for 9 years, and it was just such a beautiful thing. Uh,
Hmm.
I always say she always graced me with her presence, so it was lovely.
Yeah.
So.
In what ways do you see or experience Karina in Sawyer and Landon?
Oh my god. Okay, so Sawyer, he has a serious side. Like Karina wasn't serious all the time, but She'll joke a little bit. Sawyer is the same way. He'll joke a little bit when it's like if he's joking, but if you joke with him, he's like, "No, no, dad." But Landon, he's a jokester. He's like me, always kidding around. I'm like, "No, you gotta straighten up." So I was like, "All right, Sawyer, you got your mother's attitude." Because he'll correct me if I said something wrong. He'll be like, "No, dad, you gotta say it this way." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Funny.
your mom in you." And Landon, he's just, he's carefree. He's a jokester. So that's me.
I love that. And it sounds like she was really intentional about like legacy building and some of these things that were tangible. Obviously, I'm sure she just instilled the love as she was parenting, but then like being really intentional to think through, okay, I want them to have these birthday cards or these books and things like that. For a family who's maybe in a similar situation of "Okay, we know we have this diagnosis, we maybe don't know how long we have as this family unit. What were some things that you really appreciated having that she was intentional about that maybe someone who's listening could implement or just give them some ideas?
Never stop hoping. Because we don't know when our day is gonna come. So keep living each and every day. I think for Karina, my wife, I remember, like I said, she would be up throughout the night, and some nights I'd be like, "You need me to stay with you?" She's like, "No, there's some things I can do. So you go back to sleep, take care of yourself." And she always told me to take care of myself. And I didn't even tell you this. After the funeral, I took probably I want to say 2 months off work. So now you're going through a bunch of stuff. You're going through her stuff and going through her phone. And I found a video. She left me a video from the hospital bed. And I want to say it was a week before she passed away. She was in the hospital. And she left me a video just telling me to give myself grace and, it's going to be hard, but everything's going to be okay. I'm okay. The cancer is going to die with me. And I
Mm,
want you to always continue to, you know, not about moving on, but move forward in life. And it's like, I was not expecting that. I
yeah.
wasn't expecting the birthday cards. I wasn't expecting, give them this when they get older at a certain age. I mean, I was not expecting any of this. And all I can do is just, I find joy in that because she will forever live on with us and telling other families this, like, continue to um, build your legacy so that you can leave one, just if there's a moment in time where you can take the time to, okay, maybe I can make this video, maybe I can do birthday cards, maybe I can write a letter or leave a video. Do it. Don't let cancer keep you in a box, because cancer, it really affects your mood, you know, are you hungry today? No, I'm not hungry today. So it really affects a person's ability to do stuff. But continue to fight. That's what I gotta continue to tell people. I'm a nurse at a hospital. I have patients who get diagnosed with cancer or who has cancer um, and I remember this one particular day, it was my first week at the hospital. I got put on oncology. Oncology deals with a lot of cancer patients. And I had a couple, the wife had cancer and the husband, I can tell that he was stressed. They start yelling at each other, bickering. I'm like, so I come in the room and say, everything okay? And then he's crying and she's crying. I'm like, put my hand on his shoulder. And I remember this conversation. I was like, brother, you're going to be okay. Your wife is going to be okay. Go home and get some rest.
Mm,
Yeah, I know you try to control this, but you can't. I've been in your shoes. So it's
yeah.
part of my testimony as well to kind of just share at the hospital with my patients. Like, hey, I've been through this. I've been in your shoes. So everything's going to be okay.
Mm,
That's something you got to believe in.
yeah. I love that you have that. Your personal experience infiltrates your work so well where you know what it's like to be at the bedside in a hospital or to have that dynamic where maybe you're fighting not because you're fighting with each other, but just you're all so stressed and there's so many worries of the world and just anxiety that comes from it that it's directed towards one another that you are now in a position where you can offer some gentle insight to people who are
Yes.
in the thick of it. Yeah. And what was interesting about everything you're sharing is we have a lot of legacy development and building things with Inheritance of Hope because we always say everyone deserves a legacy. Everyone is building a legacy, whether you're aware of it or not. Like, you are
Yes.
going to be remembered, whether you control the narrative or not. Like, if you have a temper, you might be remembered for having a temper. So, like, what can you do now to shape other people's ways that they remember you? But what you just said makes me feel like so even more passionate about like build your legacy now. When cancer
Yes.
is not a part of the equation, like start doing things to capture your legacy and to be the kind of person you want to be remembered as once you're gone as a healthy person, because we're not guaranteed a certain number of days on earth or that we're going to always be healthy and not ever get a diagnosis. So it's like, make the videos now, take the pictures, write the cards. Like, there are things you can do now because, what you just said. And if you're in the midst of it, it's a little bit harder to think so clearly of like, okay, I should do this, which it's so incredible that, your wife was so intentional with that. And now your family has all these videos and the cards and all these things. And it feels like her arm is around you still. So that's
Yes.
incredible.
Yes. And I just even like 2020, it seemed like such a blur. I mean, I feel like it took a year off everybody's life. But during that time, I was able to be home for. I remember my job sent me home at the time. I was working for NASCAR at the Kansas City Speedway, and they're like, "Well, there's nothing to do for us here, so you guys go home for." I think I was home for 4 months, and she was at home, and we had Sawyer, and she was pregnant. So I remember just, I felt like that was like a blessing in disguise. I know families across the world lost a lot of family members during that time, but for my situation, and now that I look back, I feel like that was a blessing to be
Mm.
able to be at home with her and just uh, be there for her every step of the way while she was pregnant. And then we had Sawyer. He was almost 2 at the time. I remember bringing Landon home from the hospital. We all had the mask on,
Mm.
and I can see Sawyer. He's like, "What are you saying?" Like, "Daddy." He's like, "Is that a baby?" I was like, "Yeah, it's your baby brother." And he's like, "Okay, can I hold him?" And we got a video of him holding Landon, and my goodness, that was just such a something I would never forget.
Yeah.
I know, as time moves forward in life, that's one of those memories I will never forget, was during
Mhm.
that time. It was a blessing that year. 2 years later, that year, she figured out she had cancer, and I guess there was a reason for me to be home during that time.
Right.
So,
It feels like a concept we talk about often at Inheritance of Hope, which is Jaro, joy in sorrow. And it feels like you articulated the nuance perfectly of, yeah, COVID in 2020 was a really difficult time globally. And
yes.
with that was a lot of sorrow. Like, our lives collectively changed. There was a lot of loss experienced in that. And in the midst of that, for your family, you got all of this extra time together in a way that wouldn't normally have happened. So that feels like joy in the midst of sorrow. You experience that Jaro in a really sweet way, even though there was a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Yes. Because in the following year, my wife started chemo and radiation. And then December of 2021, we had our home weekend with Inheritance of Hope, which
Mm.
was awesome. That was like the best weekend ever. Just having both our kids there and doing the fun things, the activities that were planned, and then being able to go on our trip in May of 2022. That was amazing, going to San Diego, went
Mm.
to SeaWorld, and just being able to meet other families that are going through what we're going through, and knowing that we're not the only ones in the world that are, is going through such a, um, I want to say sad time, but hurtful, kind of hurtful time, and I think just coming together during that time, that was a blessing. I'm
Mm.
grateful for that week, being able to meet other families that I'm still in contact with to the day, and I think Inheritance of will always be part of my life. It's just for people from people loving on us and just caring. That's one thing I really love about Heritage of Hope. How much y'all care for families.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could share, like, one memory or moment from your legacy retreat that just kinda captures your experience there as a family, what comes to mind?
A lot of things. I want to say I enjoyed our small group time where we're able to go into a room and we have childcare during that time. But we were able to go to a room and kind of just talk about just life. And my wife, Karina, was able to talk about her cancer experience with other people with same cancers and other cancers and understanding everyone has different backgrounds, but cancer is bringing us together to kind of talk about, what it's like to be a caretaker. What do you do in this situation? What do you do to relieve stress? Just a lot of things that were talked about, just that had helped me understand my role as not only a caretaker, my as a husband, but also as a father, um, and just it gave me the strength even more to continue to fight with my wife, because some days I was like, you feel down some days, but it's just having that energy helped me get through what I was about to prepare for. So,
Yeah.
because the next month my wife passed away, so being able to go away to a retreat, get the energy that I need, the strength, the comfort, because I had to come back to Kansas and the following month had to fight what was going to happen next. So, which I didn't know what was going to happen when it was going to happen. Nobody knew. So, I came home from the hospital June 14th, and we got her set up for hospice for that Friday. And I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, "Just don't think you're going to be happy with hospice." She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, you're just going to be in a bed in our room for the time being. I mean, I don't think that's." She's like, "Well, I mean, it is what it is. That's just going to be
Hmm.
what we have to do for now." So I remember I had to like redo things in the room to fit a hospital bed, and she passed away June 16th on a Thursday. I guess I would have never known. The only thing I remember doing that day was I was rushing to sell my car because I was preparing for, okay, we don't need two cars. Let's get it out the way. We don't need this. I was doing a lot of things to prepare for the weekend. And it was just like, I don't know why I'm in and out of the house and I'm not with my wife,
Hmm.
just being with her because I took the week off. And I remember we had our friend Lauren Allen over to kind of sit with her and pray with her. And I remember I came back to the house and I went up to the room and she looked at me. She's like, "What are you doing back?" I was like, "I forgot the car title." And she's like, "Well, it's probably in the file cabinet. Go over there." And I got it. And I was like, "All right, I'll be back." And not only I didn't know I was going to get a phone call an hour later saying, "Hey, you need to rush to the hospital. Get to the hospital. She can't breathe." And I was like, "Oh, well, just is it her air tank? You might need to adjust it." She's like, "No, it's different." I was like, "Oh, well, call the ambulance." And I get to the hospital and then she was in the ER and she looked at me and I looked at her and I said, in that moment I just felt like I was in a movie. I was like,
Hmm.
"There's no way this is happening right now." So, and then about 20 minutes later, they transferred her to another room and she passed away. So that's why I feel like the retreat was needed to prepare me for that.
Hmm.
Just being in that moment made me think about just all the conversations I had with our leader of the group, Jill. And then we had one day where we was talking about how do you prepare for the aftermath of your spouse, your significant other passing away? Like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I don't even know. And just pray,
Mhm.
but not knowing that God has already prepared me for this and God has helped Karina. He gave her the strength to prepare for her the life after. And that's leaving her legacy. And that was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm sure that story is just close to your heart and probably one of the more significant memories that you will always have, no matter how painful that is. It sounds like there was a lot of beauty in that,
Yes.
and just a lot of connection as a family until the end, and the fact that you got to go on this retreat and this trip together a month before and just kind of have all of those memories, the pictures, the stories from that. To all four of you, but then especially, after she died, that you had that so sacred in your heart to kind of carry you through a little bit, make it a little bit easier because obviously it's probably one of the most difficult things you've had to walk through, and yeah,
Most
so
definitely
thank you.
was, and I always tell people, and I've told somebody this before, I was like, it's a scar that I'll always carry, but I must find beauty within that scar, and that's something that has always stuck with me, and it helps me get through the dark days and the days where it's like, "My goodness, I'm doing all this by myself, like, I don't know what I'm doing," but, sometimes I just cherish the moments that I do remember, and those moments help me get through each and every day.
Yeah. Grief is a constant companion. It kind of changes shape as time goes on, but that's a scar that you're always going to carry. And I just heard a video today too that says, like, when we try to sterilize our grief and the sadness, we sterilize the love that we have for this person. And if we try to limit our grief and that constant scar that we carry, you eliminate the reason why it was there in the first place, which was how much you loved this person and all the memories you have together. So it again, that's the joy and the sorrow. Like, there is so much sorrow because there was so much joy and beauty and love for this person, and that it's almost like a badge of honor to carry that, of like, I am carrying this grief because I loved this person and I am not easily gonna let her legacy be forgotten. Like, I'm carrying
Most
that on.
definitely.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm embedding in my boys, Sawyer and Landon. Like, we must continue to carry mommy's legacy, and even when the time comes for me to shift forward and the next part of my journey is in heaven. And they're like, heaven? I was like, yeah, that's where mommy's at. And they're like, oh yeah. So we always talk about heaven and mommy's always looking down on you and she's always with you. And and I always tell them like, you have to carry mommy's legacy as well. When you're at school, when you're out and about, have that in your heart. And you're gonna have sad days, but remember the beautiful times that you had with mommy and they remember. Kids have a great memory. Sorry, he'll still bring up San Diego. Remember when we went to SeaWorld? I was like, yeah, yeah. Well, I want to go back. I'm like, okay, we can go back. So
Yeah, I'm curious what you would share to someone who's maybe, like, in the thick of grief. Maybe they just lost their person or are preparing, like, okay, hospice is here, it might be coming soon. Like, for those initial days, what advice would you give someone navigating such heavy grief?
you're not going to understand why. You can't control what's about to happen or has already happened. Be prayerful. Believe in God, and believe that God has a reason for everything. And yeah, you're going to question God. It's going to happen. We're human, but just know that this is part of the journey. I mean, yeah, it's sad. It's terrible, but you must find joy in it. You must find joy in what God is doing in your life, no matter through the good and the bad. God has a plan, and we have to live by that. Yeah, we're going to question that, but at the end of the day, we have to believe in God. And to me, Karina's not suffering anymore.
Hmm,
She's cancer free. She's in heaven.
yeah.
I know that. I find joy in that, knowing that she is saved. She's in heaven. I tell my boys that every day. Mommy's in heaven. She's cancer free. She's not hurting anymore. And I think sometimes it's scary for us, like humans, to believe in that because it's like, well, we can't control it. We can't see it. Well, you have to believe in that. You have to believe that in your heart. So,
Hmm. Yeah, it sounds like grace, giving yourself a lot of grace in the midst of that, like grace and space and permission to question things, to feel confusing emotions like why do I feel joyful right now? I feel guilty for feeling happy because I feel like I should be sad. Like there's just grace upon grace upon grace upon grace, and there's permission to navigate all of that even if it feels really confusing.
you know, everybody's different. Everybody's they mourn differently. And I just know for me, after watching the video, she left me from the hospital bed. And And then to come to find out she had a video for the boys.
Hmm.
She was reading one of their favorite books at the time. Uh, and we'll still play that video to the day. "All right, you want mommy to read your story tonight?" "Yeah, that's yes." So we'll play the video. So for her to leave those 2 videos and to leave birthday cards and the legacy videos as well that she made with her Heritage of Hope, but then she's living on with us still to this day, and that's something I believe in, and we'll see her again.
Yeah, I love that.
What if you could leave behind your voice, your laugh, your love, all in your own words? Inheritance of Hope Legacy Video Service gives you a priceless opportunity to share what matters most with your loved ones. With a legacy video coach handling all the logistics online, you create a lasting treasure for your family, one that's edited, securely backed up, and easy to share. It's completely free thanks to generous donors. Start your legacy video today at inheritancefhope.org.
Well, you might have kind of maybe already answered this question, but we always wrap up every episode by asking whose life and legacy has been impactful for you and kind of the way that you live your life. Um, yeah, through their life, through their death. What comes to mind for you?
Well, be my wife, Karina. I feel so blessed, to be honest with you. I know people might, "Oh, yeah, you had a rough patch," and, "Oh, yeah, that was a season," and I'm just like, but through all of it, I'm just so blessed. And she left me 2 wonderful, wonderful kids. Sawyer and Lennon, they're just wonderful. Everybody think they're twins. I'm like, "Yeah, they might be Irish twins. They're 2 years apart." And I love them so much because I see her in them. And to me, I cherish that, and I will always, uh, guide them the best way I can, and I'll always tell them stories about their mom and share pictures of their mom and story of how we met and, "Your mom love you for this," and just reading their birthday cards every year. She left them a message in each card.
Hmm.
That has been helpful for me, um, because it just reminds me that, you're not alone. I'm still with you. It's just, you have to guide them the right way, you know, and always pray that God will always guide them to Him and let them live a beautiful, healthy life. So I feel blessed. I was married to Karina for 9 years, and she just will always be a person I will cherish, and I will always love. No matter how much
Yeah.
time is going forward, I will always love her. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I see that even just in this short conversation and in the ways that you're carrying on her legacy in general, but also specifically for your boys, that they're not going to forget their mom and that
yes,
you're like living out her legacy, especially for them to witness and live on as well. And also, I know you said this, I think at the beginning of this call, but just I so appreciate how you lived out your wedding vows to her, like in sickness and in health, till death do us part, and like the commitment to that, even
yes.
when things are hard. So, yeah, it's just very, very compelling story. So, thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel blessed to be on the show today, and it's because of Karina that I'm able to do this and continue to talk about her legacy and how much it has, affected my life and the boy's life and how we're continuing to move forward. We're not moving on, we're continuing to move forward in life. And we just feel blessed to be able to continue to share her story. So
Yeah, it is a beautiful one. Thank you,
thank you.
Pierre.
Sawyer's on his back with scraped up knees, racing down the driveway like the wind's on his team. 7 years old, but he stands real tall, calls the plays in the yard, wants to lead us all. Rock wall grips and a soccer ball, he sizes up the world like he's ready for it all. Landon's on the floor with a screwdriver grin, taking clocks apart just to see what's within. 5 years old with a curious mind, puts it back together like it works every time. And when the day gets heavy and the night comes fast, those little arms give hugs at last. I watch you boys and my heart knows how your mama would have traded anything to be here right now. So be strong, be brave when the road gets steep, when the answers don't come easy and the hurt cuts deep. Life's gonna test you, I know it will, but you've already learned how to stand real still on a God who's steady, on a truth that's sure. He's been carrying us, he'll carry us more, no matter what might happen in this world. This house will serve the Lord. Every night we line up books by the bed, talk about tomorrow, what's ahead, little hopes and plans before we pray. It's the way your mama liked to end the day. We still pack the car when summer rolls in, feet in the sand, salty air on our skin, and movie nights with the lights down low, laughing at the parts she loved the most. And these rhythms we keep, they're more than routines, they're little reminders of who she was to me. So be strong, be brave when the road gets steep, when the answers don't come easy and the hurt cuts deep. Life's gonna test you, I know it will, but you've already learned how to stand real still on a God who's steady, on a truth that's sure. He's been carrying us, he'll carry us more, no matter what might happen in this world. This house will serve the Lord. Yeah. Your mama's smiling where the pain can't stay, watching every step you make along the way. She's so proud of the heart you're growing into now, the kind of strong men I already see somehow. And one day when we meet her on that shore, she'll pull you close and you feel her arms once more. So be strong, be brave when the road gets deep, when the answers don't come easy and the hurt cuts deep. Life's gonna test you, I know it will, but you've already learned how to stand real still on a God